Hi everybody, Ben here from Art Less Ordinary. So today I'm going to show you how I make my terrazzo. So this is all the colours I have been making over the past, I don't know, not even a day, less than a day. Made most of them yesterday afternoon after work, and I've been making more. I'm going to make more today, and I wanted to show you how I did it. So these are all jesmonite terrazzo, and they're nice colours, bright colours. I've got light purple, light blue, pink, black. Black always comes out like kind of a charcoaly grey colour. It's just, you've got to use so much pigment to get it like black. I've got a light green. I've got this kind of smoky grey purple. So it's not a deep purple, it's like a smoky purple. Red and orange. Ooh, sorry. Let's get a bit heavy with all this. So I need to make up some more colours. And I thought, I'll show you how I do my one. Because it's... everyone makes terrazzo slightly different. I'm just going to show you my way. I found it easier to do it this way. So I have just a piece of wood that I have cut. This is one I don't paint on. I brought cheap wood at first, got it cut, and it's too flaky. It's not really what I want. But it works good for using it for bits and pieces. So I have my... in Australia, we call it Glad Wrap, but that's a company name, called Cling Wrap, or whatever you like to call it. So first things I am going to do is just place this down. And get nice, good, even. Try to keep it relatively flat. Don't get too many creases in it yet. Then I get my piece of wood and I put it down so there's a lip, like excess around each side. That should be enough. Okay, now I can put that cling wrap out the way. Move this up a little bit. I'm still getting used to where my camera angle is. I can't alter it because it doesn't have a good enough swivel on it. I've got to get another stand. So now what I do is I fold over this first side. Then I get my masking tape. Stick it on that edge, but then pull it a little bit before you stick it down so it's nice and tight. Then I get my other side and I do the same thing. Give it a little bit of a pull, fold it over. So this, I find, just makes it a lot easier. Put it on there, pull that across, stick that down. And now we just need a couple of other smaller pieces. It's actually quite fun making terrazzo too. So what I want to do from here is, I want to just get a little bit on the other side, give it a little bit of a pull to keep it tight, and then put it down. Now same up the top bit here. I just lift it a little bit, grab it, give it a little bit of a pull, and then stick it down. Now we've got this side. Pull it down, give it a little bit of a pull, stick it down. Okay, now the reason I give it a little bit of a pull before I stick it down is to keep it quite tight around the edges. So as you see when I turn it over, it's actually really taut, so it's quite flat. It just means you just get less marks or problems or anything like that. So that's the preparation stage for this. So actually I can probably leave that there. I'm just going to put my mat while I mix everything. So for mixing, I have. And you can use smaller amounts. What I've been using gives me this amount of terrazzo, which is a reasonable amount. And I'll get to using it all. So I have 125 grams by weight of powder and 50 grams of liquid. So I'm just going to pour that into that. That's that done. Now mix. So it gets a little bit hard and then it loosens up again. So I'm actually going to pick this up now and mix really vigorously. Scraping the sides, mix that in, scrape my stirring stick, get that back down into the feel like I'm going to get a few lumps in this one actually. When I did them, the occasional one, when I mixed it, got a couple of lumps, but oh well. I'll show you what I did with all those excess lumps after. So that's mixed. So now I've got my colour. So the jesmonite I'm using is actual jesmonite, proper jesmonite, and I'm using a brambiler colour mix, which is made in Australia. Couldn't get hold of actual jesmonite colours because everyone seems to be sold out. So I'm going for a dark blue. That's a pale blue. So I'm going to go probably 4 or 5 drops for now. Give it a good mix. Okay, that's still not as dark as I need it because I need different colours. So I'm going to go another 4 drops. It's 5. Give that. I always stir it in gently, otherwise all the colour ends up on the side of the cup or the side of your container. So I'm going to scrape this just so I know I've got all that colour mixed in. I want it more darker again. So let's go another 5. Pardon me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as long as you keep adding it bit by bit, you're not going to overdo it. Sometimes it gets to a point where you're not darkening it a lot more each time you add more. I probably could add a drop of black if I wanted to darken it right up, but alright, one more lot and that'll be it. It's getting darker each time, but it's still not a rich, deep blue I was hoping for. But it's going to still be different enough that I can use it as a darker blue. When I get big bottles of colours, I'll be able to use it a bit more because the colours are hard to get at the moment. I'm being a little bit sparing with them. Yeah, as you can see, that didn't really darken it up a lot more. So if I keep adding, I might not actually get that much more darker. I'm just going to scrape the stick again, because what was touching the bottom of the stick might be the lighter blue. Awesome. Now, get rid of my sheet. And don't pour it where you wiped your stick. Pour it out the opposite side of the cup. So pour it down. Scrape my cup. Sorry for the noise, guys. I just don't want to waste any of it. Alright, that will do. So, now it just looks like a blob of blue. But what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to tilt it till I get about there, and tilt to the other corner. Sometimes you've got to stop short of the corner depending on which, because you don't want this part to fall off. Now what I'm doing is, I give it a blow as I tilt it, because you can see all these bubbles coming to the surface and they will pop. It's hard to see what you guys are going to see on the camera compared to what I'm seeing when I do it. Alright, we're getting close to that side. So now we want to pour it, tilt it this way. So some people get it and spread it out with the spatula. So the only issue I find with that is, I get some bits that are like real super thin and other bits that are real thick, and I don't like that so much. So I try and do it this way. Now there's tons of little bubbles popping. Now, where did I put... I'm sure I brought my tweezers in. No, I can't see them. I have no idea where I put them. Ah, goodness. I put them somewhere safe right next to me, and I have just misplaced them. I do that quite frequently. I'm going to run and grab them because they are quite important to do actually. So I left them on my other work surface. So now I'm just going to get a paper towel or a wipe. So trying to hurry a little bit because this is going to start setting up. But there's a couple of clumps in here. Because we've made it thin, they're noticeable. And as a piece of terrazzo, if I sand it, it could actually go white underneath it because it hasn't got the blue colours in it. So I just grab them and then wipe my tweezers on my paper towel or my cloth. resin's still in there. There we go. I don't know if it's just because I don't have an electric mixing blade. They were out of that too. And when I do normal pieces, this isn't noticeable, but it's a little bit noticeable in the thinner terrazzos. So you don't have to get every piece. I just grab the larger chunks because I know that underneath, like in the middle of this blue, it will actually be like a white. Oh, and a bug. Glad I got that out. Just about there. So you don't have to get every single one. I just try to get the larger clumps that you can kind of see floating on top. But you do just have to work quick. And as soon as you start seeing it setting up, stop. Because it's terrazzo, it's not so bad. You're going to end up putting them in projects and sanding it anyway. But okay, so I don't know if you guys can see it, but every time I blow on this, there's hundreds of bubbles popping. And then I might give it a slight bang. And there we go. Now, all I have to do with this is leave it to harden up and then break it up. So, best of all is I come back in about 25 to 30 minutes and break it, usually about half an hour. I'll break it up then. So I did leave some of these other colours until later to break up. So I did them at night, broke them up the next day. A little bit more harder to break. Because it's thin, it's still easy enough to actually break it. But I found I was getting a lot larger chunks rather than small pieces, just because it was more, had a bit more give in it to break it up. When I did it when it was still quite soft, it broke up quite easily. And yeah, just when I'm breaking it, I actually try not to break it near, like I'm doing right now. I don't break it up near the other colors. Try to keep each color separate when you're breaking it, unless you want those colors to be together permanently. You drop one piece in there, it's really hard to fetch it out. So I just break them all up separately, put them in here in these containers. So this is blue's container that's going to be in there. And I've still got more colors to make. I've probably got another 5 or 6 colors I'm planning on making. But this is the terrazzo. So I'll come back in about half an hour and show you how easily it is to break up into pieces. But this is what I found to be a very simple and easy way of doing it. Without using something to spread it, it's actually quite an even thickness all the way around. Sometimes the very edge is a tiny little bit thinner, but overall it's mostly the same thickness. It's quite smooth and easily workable. And now it's fun. It's actually quite an enjoyable process to make the terrazzo. So hopefully everything will work out perfect, and I will show you soon in probably 30 minutes. So back, oh, sorry, I'm climbing my ladder, I nearly fell off. So back soon, guys. Okay, we're back. So now what we do is, so I'm just climbing off my ladder. Oops, knocking everything over. So now it's actually quite easy to do from now. So what I first do is I actually take off the tape, holding it down. So there's the side bits. try and do this without ripping the cling wrap, and I do say try. Alright, that's the 4 side bits. And now but I still find it easier if I keep it on this board, but just free up the cling wrap. Now, as you can see, it's one big sheet, so I usually just break it into thirds, that side, and then just kind of peel it. Comes off quite easily. It's still drying, but that's fine. You can break it up now. The only thing with this cling wrap, once it touches itself, it's hard to unravel it. So I really would like to keep it in one sheet, but the cling wrap, I mean. And now I just place these on top of each other. And now with the bits that come off, now I just push them with my fingers until they turn into chips. So I usually do this in stages. You'll feel that there is some slight difference in thickness in some parts. But I push down, and I've got one nail that I've kept long, and I also just push that down towards my fingers and kind of snap it into little pieces. So if you leave this too long, this is the part that gets a bit harder, and you've got to put more force into it. And depending on what size chips that you're after, is how small you break them up from the beginning. You can put a couple of pieces on top of each other. I just don't like to, some people just get it all and just keep scrunching it together. I'm not keen on that, just because I find that when the jesmonite rubs against each other a lot, it kind of dulls it and makes it a bit, it loses that surface vibrancy, when it might be fine once you actually put it in an artwork and sanding it to show the jesmonite, but I prefer not to. So as you can see, this is breaking up quite easily. And if you see any bits that look too big, just get them. I just place it between my 2 fingers and push my thumb into it so it snaps it in the middle. And that's it. Just keep going till you've got it all broken, and then I will tip it into my container. You are best to keep these containers covered with something. So I use another piece of this wood to put on top of it, so to stop dust getting in there, or transfer them from containers into sealed bags or sealed containers. You just don't want all impurities and other stuff to get in there, because then when you add it to the jesmonite, you're just adding that stuff into your work as well. But this is actually quite a fun process. I know not everyone would think this is fun, but I quite enjoy it. Keeps me busy. Usually what I'll do is I'll take this tray with me, sit down on the lounge chair, and I can do it while I'm watching TV. So that way kind of not just sitting there doing this by itself. You're actually enjoying a bit of relaxation time. And yeah, and just mix up your colours. Sometimes it colours my fingers. The other ones, some of them, depending, I added quite a lot of pigment into this one because I wanted a dark blue. When I didn't add a lot of pigment, I got that light blue. So that's just the way I go about it. So as you can see, a really cool assortment of colours. I've got more to make. I want to make a white, a yellow, a light grey, and a dark green. So I've still got quite a few to do. The only thing is, the darker you make it, the more pigment colour you're going to have to use. So I've got fluoros, but I won't be able to make this large amount with my fluoros because I've only got small bottles of that. So I think the purple and the pink are actually the fluoro colours, but because I didn't add tons into it, they kind of just have that more pastel-y look about them than a fluoro colour. But that's all part of the fun in the process. So I'll pause this and I'll continue, and then that will be about it. Nearly finished. Alright, so now I have finished breaking it up. It's probably been another 10 to 12 minutes later. So this is why I keep it on the plastic. It's because now it just makes life easier. I can just wrap it up. Put it all in its little tray. So I wouldn't use this one I've just made for at least 24 hours. I want it to become its full hardness before I actually work with it as a terrazzo type of artwork. I don't know if you could use it earlier or not. I haven't tried. I always just leave it 24 hours until it's at its optimal strength. Also, if you want smaller pieces for a certain work, just take so much out, put into a smaller container, and just break them up to the size that you want them to be. I'm going to try and make whichever colours I put together, I'm going to try and make them all as even as possible. But yeah, so there we go. So slide this across. Then we can see, they've got to be fixed up, a whole bunch of colours. So I've got 9 colours so far, and I've got a few more I'm going to make. So I'm really pleased. I think they turn out quite nicely, and not that hard to do. Quite easy. I think the hardest part is going to be when I actually do the terrazzo part, is going to be the sanding of it. But that will be probably in a next video or something very, very soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. So comment, like, share and subscribe if you have not already. And we'll see you soon for another video. But I'm really, really having fun, and hopefully whatever I make is going to look as awesome as I think it's going to be in my head. All right, bye everyone.